Hey, so as I said in the other video, this video is going to be just the trip report, talking about my experience having taken San Pedro, what the effects were like, what that experience was like. And there's another video, which I will link here, that is more a vlog of our camping trip up to when the effects started to come on of San Pedro, because for whatever reason I forgot to film when we were under the effects. I was in the moment, but I did film what it was like consuming it, and I had fun filming it, so take a look at that video if you want to see our camping vlog experience about consuming San Pedro. And now this one is about the trip itself. Enjoy. Hello. So the next day, here I am reporting back about how it went yesterday experimenting with San Pedro. So we had about 10 grams, 10, maybe 11 or 12 grams each, I'd say. We didn't have a scale or anything, so I'm just kind of gauging based off of splitting that powder that we had, 15 grams each, and then we started chewing on some of the pieces of the bark, the dried cactus husk skin, which was easier to get down, by the way, as well. And yeah, so we had that about 4, and about 5 or 6 we had pieces of the bark, and we're just kind of having a little bit and waiting and see how we would feel. And I thought that we wouldn't feel anything because of what I read online. People said you need to have like 25 to 30 grams to feel anything. So I wasn't sure, but I was also glad to play it safe because I wasn't sure how I would feel on this plant medicine I've never had before. And I'm really glad that I did that because it did start to come on quite stronger than we expected. And we definitely felt it, and it lasted a really, really long time. So most people have it at 8:30 in the morning, and it's a whole day affair. We had it at 4 p.m. and we were up almost the whole night. I finally went to bed around 3:30 or 4 a.m. because I ended up taking some melatonin. I decided, you know what, that's enough. I need to take some melatonin and go to bed. And I had to put some earplugs in because it was windy, it was cold. My boyfriend didn't sleep at all, poor thing. But we did enjoy the experience. It was overall a positive experience, similar for each of us. Prior to ingesting the medicine, I made sure to ask permission and to express gratitude towards this medicine, open to whatever it may teach us, whatever lessons we can learn from it. I feel like that's a really important way to start out with these kind of things before ingesting it. You know, say a few words just to set the tone, become in peace. We are curious to try this, but of course with all respect and kindness as well. So overall it was a positive experience. And to describe how it was, well, around 5 p.m. we decided to start hiking a little bit more before the sun went down, and it was getting a little bit dark, and I started to notice that my vision started to blur. It wasn't as clear anymore. So that's when I started to notice that it was affecting me. And everything just seemed kind of dark. Like, yes, it was dark, but everything seemed extra dark. And we walked a little bit further, and then I asked my boyfriend, I was like, do you want to keep going any further? And he's like, not really. So we went back to our tent and that area where we can look out at the moon. It was a really bright moon, which is really nice. And we kept chewing on a little piece of the bark, seeing if we would have more of an effect. And when we went down and sat near our camp, I definitely started feeling things opening up in my mind, you know, that things just opening up, like a channel opening up. So I knew it was affecting me, and I felt a very, very strong pressure on my head from above, and my boyfriend also felt that. It was very, very heavy. That's how I would describe the San Pedro. It was a very heavy energy. Like, I'm glad I didn't have more. And the thing is, I was eating the bark, and then I got to a point where I just didn't want any more. And it's interesting how with plant medicines, I find that it's very prevalent, where the medicine almost lets you know when enough is enough. And I was reading that online as well. Some people just have as much as they can until they can't anymore. Well, I had a lot less than what was recommended online based on these forums, and having that amount that I had enough. At that point, I decided I don't want any more. I just want to wait and see what happens now. And it was quite a lot of pressure on my head that I couldn't really imagine having taken more than what I had, because it was a slightly uncomfortable amount of pressure. I knew I'd be fine, of course, but I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to have more than that, because it was like, oh my God, it was like a weight on my head, on my shoulders. And they say that San Pedro is a masculine energy. I definitely felt that. It almost felt like a male elder, like a grandfather, putting his hands on my head and on my shoulders and being like, sit down and pay attention and let me show you what I have to offer. So I just always never try to control the experience, just let things happen as they may happen, and just experience whatever the medicine has to offer. And it was quite interesting. I had a lot of really great ideas. We had a lot of really great conversation. And what was really interesting is that I felt like the medicine helped us understand each other a lot more, because I noticed that certain things that I had a hard time understanding of my partner before made complete sense to me then, and we were talking about it, and then things that were hard for him to understand while I was talking about it, he was able to understand me, so it brought us closer in that respect. We had more of a mutual understanding, and we both had visions as well. Eventually, when we laid down, I had some visions that just came up. We were listening to this funky music. I found this playlist on Spotify for ayahuasca, and it's the best ever. I'm so grateful to whoever found those songs and put them in that playlist. They're just fantastic. So I downloaded it to my phone because there's no service here, and it's just the best to listen to when on these plant medicines. So though that music was triggering different visions in my mind that I wonder if will come true in the future. I'm curious to see like different houses nearby here and opportunities that might arise there. And I was laughing pretty hard at some silly stuff. I got a kick out of the food that we were trying to put together, but we were having a hard time. I was laughing pretty hard at that. And the medicine itself was very bitter, very bitter. The powder was very hard to get down. And later in the night, I had, we both kind of had stomach pain, but the kind that would pass, but just like, you don't know if you should eat something or not, or let it pass, or drink water. It's just kind of a weird, upset stomach feeling. Neither of us vomited at all, so that was good. But yeah, that upset stomach feeling did last for quite a while. And yeah, we were just enjoying the fire and listening to music and hanging out and chilling, and it was very contemplative. Sometimes I couldn't talk anymore. I was like, no, I just want to be silent right now and reflect. I couldn't comprehend a lot of conversation. It was just too much for me. But it was a very much in controlled experience. Nobody was out of control. I felt very safe. I felt, I felt quite all right. And it was very interesting to be able to experience the medicine. Definitely benefited from it. It was an interesting experience, although it was very heavy. We both found that it was very heavy, and even into the morning, we were still feeling it a little bit. Like, I'm quite tired because it kept us up so late at night, but I ended up getting some sleep. But in the morning, I had a combination of feeling completely exhausted and also very much awake. So that was interesting. I think quite common on psychedelics as well. And when we laid down in the tent, that's when I started to experience more visuals. Quite light visuals, but they were there for sure. Like any folds in the tent or reflections of light, I saw visuals. I saw my father's face, which I also have seen on ayahuasca, which is interesting. My father's face is very present when I'm consuming these plant medicines. So yeah, and different faces and silhouettes of faces I see just in the crevices of the tent and whatnot. And I'm not ever trying to see certain things. It's just that these images just appear. The patterns just appear on their own. So it's interesting what the plant medicine makes you see. And when I closed my eyes, I had very subtle visuals, quite similar to ayahuasca, but more masculine, I would say. I don't know if it's because I was reading about San Pedro being masculine and that stuck in my head and influenced my opinion on that, or if it really was, but it definitely felt like a more of a darker energy, but not scary or anything. There was nothing to be scared of, but it was definitely a lot darker and heavier, and yeah, very interesting patterns, visuals. Saw some colors with my eyes closed as well, and also with eyes open at night, I saw some colors. I'm really glad that we went slow on it because it was quite heavy. And the original plan was to have it first thing in the morning and head out and hike to our camping site, but we got held up, and it's hard to leave early for us. And we were dragging our feet, and then that thing come up. I got a little bit upset, so I wasn't in a good mood to have anything in the morning psychedelic wise, and I had to wait to cool off. Plus, it was probably for the best because we weren't sure how we would feel on it, and it would suck to not be able to reach the campsite and then not even be able to set up our stuff or anything. So it was good to be able to get to the campsite totally sober, set up our stuff so that we felt like, okay, we got our stuff together now. Now it's a good opportunity to try this, and I'm really glad that I did try it. You know, I'm in the perfect place for it with the perfect company, so I feel very safe, and you know, going slow, playing it safe. I knew I'd be alright, and it was overall a positive experience. Would I try it again? I'm sure I would. Yeah, I would try it again. I would like to try it earlier in the morning, however, because that was a very drawn out tripping experience. Kind of like LSD. Lasted for about 12 hours for me. My boyfriend was still feeling it into this morning, but he didn't sleep at all. But we both enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm grateful to be able to try this new medicine and integrate and reflect on what happened during this experience. But it was a really positive experience, so I'm grateful for that. Big fan of plant medicines over here. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you learned something from it. It's good to start slow with these plant medicines. I'm really surprised online people were saying you need to have like 25 to 30 grams. I had like 10, and that was enough for me. So start slow, experiment a little bit at a time, see how you react to it. That's a safe way to do it, because this can be very powerful and strong, and everybody reacts differently. And when I have magic mushrooms, that's when I've really felt that it doesn't matter how much of these medicines you have. If you're really paying attention, you can benefit from even a small amount. So if you're more sensitive and in tune with what's going on in your body, you're bound to experience something even from a small dosage. That's what I believe. Some people do need more of these things to feel anything at all. Maybe they're more out of touch and they need more to get in touch with themselves. But I really feel that over time we all become more sensitive to ourselves as we become more in touch with ourselves. So those are some insights that I've learned from consuming psychedelics. These substances have very much contributed to my evolution as a human being, and I'm very, very grateful that I have come across these on my path in life. They have helped me more than I can thank them for. All the worries and the troubles that I have day to day melt away under psychedelics, and anxiety and depression as well. Of course, not for everybody, but I feel like I've started these when I'm in a good space in my life, good headspace, and I like to practice a lot of grounding activities on my free time, which also help, and I try to surround myself with positive and kind people that look out for one another, and I'm very sensitive to my surroundings too, so I want to make sure I'm in a safe and comfortable place to have these things, because setting is very important. So yes, I'm very grateful that it has been almost always a positive experience. I know it might not always be that way, but I just try to always be open and to remind myself to embrace the darkness, as hard as it may seem in the moment, and to not judge things with fear, or not judge things as scary or bad. I feel like this is really important when things can become a little bit dark and unknown. So I'm bracing myself for those experiences. But yeah, just because something's dark doesn't mean it's bad. Anyway, those are my takeaways, but I'm really glad that it ended up being a good experience. Heavy, but worthwhile, so I'm glad that I got that curiosity satisfied. Let me know in the comments what your experience has been on San Pedro or other plant medicines. And if you have anything else that you'd like to comment that you liked about my video that resonated with you, or any other things you would like to share, I'd love to hear from you. And join my channel if you have not already. I really appreciate having new subscribers. Hope that you enjoyed this video, and everybody take care of yourselves. See you in the next video.
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday. What day? It's Tuesday, April 19th already. Time's flying by. But I just wanted to mention that it has now been 3 days, almost 3 days since we took San Pedro. And yeah. And today I woke up feeling a pressure on my head in this area, right around this chakra here, third eye chakra. And that's the same feeling I was having on San Pedro. So I feel like it was still affecting me even like after, but it's gone away now. I had some coffee, but I felt a strange, unusual pressure right here that I recall feeling when we had San Pedro. So almost 3 days later, that stuff is strong, guys. My recommendation is start slow and wait and try it out. It did take a good 2 hours for the effects to come on for us, and we hadn't eaten all that much, so it takes some time to it can take a long time for the effects to come along. Start slow, play it safe. But overall, good experience, and I'm feeling great otherwise. Happy to be here. A beautiful day here in Brazil. Can't complain too much.